Most people who invest in crypto and stocks, they do it the wrong way. They chase the hype, they hold bad things, and they have no plan or strategy. Now, I used to make those mistakes until I found something that was quite obvious and a very winnable strategy. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to invest in Bitcoin, trade altcoins, and grow a stock market portfolio step by step by using cryptocurrency as a wealth vehicle. If you want to build wealth without gambling, this video is for you. First things first, I dollar cost average into Bitcoin. I have done for a long time, and I'm also doing this on my Patreon as well, a dollar cost average challenge. And you can see on the screen, right, its performance over time pretty much beats everything in the market. Let's be totally honest. Yes, there's some volatility about here, but realistically, it is pretty awesome. Now, the components of obviously dollar cost averaging, you need to invest in regular intervals, whether you want to do this weekly, monthly, whatever. It makes sense doing it as a fixed amount because you can kind of bypass the market volatility. You may buy a bit more expensive. Sometimes you may not the other time, right? Obviously, the inflation impact is huge if you're a saver, and you can do this in multiple different assets such as Bitcoin, gold, index funds, and dividend stocks. Now, this is obviously great because you can kind of remove the stress element. You know it's going to happen. And over time, what would you rather have? Money in the bank or something that appreciates over time and gives you more money? Well, this is kind of where we're going with it. Watch this. If you invested in Bitcoin on the 1st of January 2018 and you put $250 in per week up until yesterday, on the screen you can see you would have invested $93,500. You would have got 5.78 BTC at a current value of $518,000. That is a huge amount of profit of $424,000. I know, ridiculous. That's where we're going with it. That is the obvious in the room. Why are people not doing it? It blows my brains, which is why I talk about it on my Patreon. As you can see on the screen here, you can jump in, dollar cost average challenge, and also here are my results of that, which is pretty awesome in my opinion, considering I only started in September as a transparency kind of portfolio. But I'm also going to explain now why doing this in altcoins is the wrong strategy. But in my opinion, buying and holding altcoins now is very risky. Yes, you may well know that I have made a lot of money in certain alt seasons over the past, but I think now it's certainly times are changing. And this is the thing. Altcoins may never recover. Certain ones may not recover. They are speculative. They are cyclical. It's probably better to trade them. And we're going to go on to that at the end. You'll probably see why. So let's compare Ethereum if you were to buy it. But also I'm going to do more altcoins. You'll see this. This is going to kind of blow your mind a little bit. In one way, you're probably thinking, well, actually, if you did the exact same thing, you may well actually win here. Turns out you won't. Bitcoin is, and still has been, for a period of time, pretty much 7 years, outbeating everything. Even Ethereum. And I know there'll be some little ones that will do really well at some points, but here you go. This is the results. You'll have roughly 200 Ethereum, $438,000. You've got a decent amount of profit, but not as good as Bitcoin, as you can imagine. But shall we look at some other things? Let's look at Litecoin. Now, if you did Litecoin and also XRP, you can see a profit of just under $10,000 for Litecoin. With XRP, $30,000, which is madness in itself. And the way to prove this and the way to showcase this, look at the BTC pair of every single asset. It's amazing to see this, but ultimately you may well be buying quite high at some points and quite low, but the value appreciation of altcoins haven't really went up. Just to kind of showcase that BTC pair, this is XRP. As you can imagine, if you started doing the dollar cost average challenge around here, you would have been buying at a pretty big premium. And over the course of time, it has been gradually getting lower and lower and lower, which kind of makes sense that you would have only made $30,000. Now, some people, yeah, sweet, I made $30,000, but when you compare it to, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, from that time frame, crazy. And I know it's subjective, I know, doing it from 2018, but I thought from 7 years, it's quite a good little track record in terms of these assets. Obviously, you can use other assets and you can look at them, but yeah, let's look at the obvious here. 7 years is a long time for dollar cost averaging. Now, the next basis of this is obviously we need to convert that wealth and that profit into other wealth vehicles. On the screen, dividend growth investing. Invest in stable companies, receive dividends, reinvest the dividends, but benefit from the growth of the yield growing. Warren Buffett's done this for a long, long time, and it works very, very well. Let me kind of showcase this in a bit more detail. On the screen here is a wealth growth chart over 25 years with compounding of dividends. Essentially, you're putting £20,000 in every single year on the UK standard ISA, and essentially what's happening is your dividends are getting received, you're reinvesting those dividends, but every single year that company is growing their dividend. That is the key point here. The dividend yield will increase every single year by a little fraction. Therefore, the stocks that you bought ages ago will have a better yield on cost. Now, to showcase it in more detail, I'm going to use Snowball. It's a platform I've used for like 2 or 3 years now. Highly recommended. There's a link below to this. It's free to try out, and it's really, really reasonable price. You can track your data, your research, and all that kind of stuff. And this is if you're doing dividend growth investing or even stock market investing, you need to kind of know what's happening. So let's go into the platform, and I'll just showcase my portfolio. This is actually my portfolio you're going to see now. So this is my portfolio. As you can see on the screen, I have got some top quality, in my opinion, UK stocks. If you want to follow along, it's in my Patreon. You can copy the chart if you want to. Now, this is what I'm looking for. The dividend growth over the last 3 or 5 years, depending on what you want to look at. Now, this is what this platform's good for. It can track it all and it can give you all the data. There's no point going for a stock that has stupidly high dividend yield, but are not a growing dividend yield as well. Like, it's got to be reliable. So, for example, if I'm looking at, say, I don't know, what should we look at? Coca-Cola, right? Randomly. Like, now this is the bottling company. You can see my performance over the cost of, me buying it and stuff like that. But also when you're doing your research on this and looking at dividends, what you kind of want is it to kind of grow. And it's got a bit decent dividend streak, had a bit of a kind of weird ass fluctuation. A lot of companies did over the course of COVID, just saying that. So you want to look for certain situations, but ultimately over time, you can see here, they have been growing their dividend yield. And that's the whole point of this, right? The whole point of the exercise is to grow it. Strong, healthy company with healthy finances, growing and growing and growing, and they're going to give out that shareholder kind of experience to the dividend holders, i.e., I'm going to make some money here. So that kind of makes sense. Now, the reality is here, it's not bulletproof, obviously. You have to go for strong, reliable stocks. They have to be growing their yield. And if you're putting cryptocurrency profits into a more stable vehicle, it kind of makes more sense realistically, right? And that's the thing. It's just your dividends will grow over time. And as you can see here, again, another situation, you can showcase how over the course of time, your portfolio will do fantastically well as you keep adding to it. So what I mean by this is the fact that over the course of this year, essentially, we're going to be looking at certain numbers. If you go the prior year, next year, it's going to go up every single time. Obviously, you're going to add more, you're going to reinvest those dividends. But if the dividends are growing by forecast, you're going to start seeing your portfolio grow anyways, as you can imagine by that chart before. And to finish this all off, we talk about dollar cost averaging into stock markets, into Bitcoin, maybe into other big obvious assets, but altcoins don't really work, right? Why not trade them? I think that's what we should be doing. Altcoins are great, but let's be honest here. Dollar cost averaging into them, you're just going to lose your money. What about the volatility? You can trade altcoins and capitalize on the volatility without having the risk of holding it and sweating at nighttime. And obviously, over time, you're going to have less emotional stress and more control over your capital if you've got a separate pot. That's a point here. You need to have your holders, your holding strategy, your Bitcoin, whatever, locked away, and you just play with that at real interesting moments at time. With your altcoins, though, you can have a trading account. There's a link below to Blowfin if you're interested, which is the one I recommend because you can trade everything and you don't have to start with crazy amount of capital. The reality is here, and we'll go to some charts and we'll look at the screen. But what would you rather have? Go long and short on assets and have that, kind of no emotional tie to it and make money because the volatility is there, because you can make money, which makes sense, right? You can make money on altcoins by not actually holding the freaking things, which makes sense. So here's Chainlink on the daily time frame. I like to look at the daily time frame, realistically, I swing trade, but as you can see here, like obviously there's a lot of situations where you can make money on these charts. If you're using simple strategies such as retest strategies or ultimately just breakouts or EMA crossovers, you're probably going to make more than the average Joe if you are consistent over time. And that's the thing. People get blown up because not so much about the strategy's crap, it's more about their rules and their emotions and too much leverage. Just keep it simple. You don't have to use leverage. You can go long and short with zero if you wanted to. Just 1x. You don't have to. And then, certain situations, obviously look at that retest here of this level. Simple breakout structure. You can't really go wrong with that. I teach out learning crypto. Feel free to jump in the link below if you're interested. But at the end of the day, this might not be for everyone. But what would you rather do? Hold it and hope it goes up forever and have nothing to do with it, but ultimately have more chance of losing, or playing the game of probability with trading? I'd rather trade, to be honest with you, personally. That's my opinion on it. And another thing as well, and I'm on the Blowfin account. I don't have much money in my account right now, but what about if you start noticing things like hype fall off, like like Vine, right? Would you not just want to short that and just go, you know what, I'm going to follow the market? And you can. And that's a wealth creation strategy by just going, you know what, meme coins are cooked. Let's short them. Makes sense, right? Same with the other way around. Oh, meme coins are starting to pick up. Let's buy some meme coins. Not be crazy in the Solana casino. Just small little longs. Ooh, follow the market. Why not? Makes sense, right? So comment below what you think. Are you a trader? Are you a dollar cost average type of person? Or do you like to do a bit of everything? Which kind of makes more sense if you're in the world of crypto and looking to grow wealth elsewhere. If you want to see my insights, more to the point, Patreon, check it out. I will do my journal in there. And yeah, watch the video that I've recommended. It might well help you.